just being around people and listening and watching, being observant and listening.
So at what age did you pick up a saxophone?
I was about 9 years old. I was in the 5th grade.
Wow. And it is 30 years, isn't it?
Unfortunately, I think so.
But it's a good thing.
It's a good thing I'm still here to do it. I've been doing it for a while too.
I'm telling you. Where do you think you want to tour this year? Whenever you going on tour?
We don't have a tour booked yet. There are requests for dates coming in. We don't have a set tour yet. I'm looking forward to doing some touring. And the one thing about being a solo artist and being an artist, sometimes you don't have to be the front man. I don't mind being the side man sometime, because you facilitate somebody else's dreams, because there are guys behind me who are great solo artists, and they play on my project, or we play together.
I was listening to your thing that you did in Oakland.
Which
you
one
did a
was
thing
that?
in Oakland last year? Was that Oakland where the red tent was? Oakland City Center?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That was something we did. It's a funny story behind that. I went to go do an audition for a band, and we went to the audition place, and I pulled out my horn, and they say, play this Stevie Wonder, please. And I'll play Earth, Wind & Fire piece, and they had some other kind of pop tune and another tune, and I'm playing up front with some horn players and just basic rhythm section, and they say, okay, play the song, and I'll be playing the song, and then they say solo. And afterward, the lady said, I had a gig for you. You want to do the Oakland City Center concert series? I said, sure. And I was familiar with the concert series because I had done it with other artists like, Pure Ecstasy and Alvon Johnson and a lot of other people. And so it was my first time to do it as a solo artist. And need to say, I didn't get the gig with the band, but I got the gig on the stage with my own band, which you saw. And that band, it was Mark Daniels on guitar, Willis Higginson on keys, Joel Smith on bass, and Dante McClinton on drums, if I'm not mistaken.
Dante McClinton.
Yeah.
That name keeps popping
Yeah.
up.
He's a very band leader here.
Yeah.
He toured Leela James recently. He's all over. And we've
Yeah.
we've worked together probably for the last 20 years. When he's on stage, I always say I think he's been playing with me the longest.
So how'd that go over? It looked good on tape.
It was great. You're playing in the city center, high noon. Oakland is bustling. Everybody's going to lunch. You're between the Oakland City Hall, City Center, American President Line, Clorox Building, all those areas in the middle of downtown. It would be equivalent to playing in front of City Hall here, or down there where the ice rink is, where we played down there too.
Yeah.
Or playing outside lands in Golden Gate Park.
Yeah.
It's a hustle and bustle. Everybody comes from all over, whatever. Some people come down here just for the music.
Yeah.
Some people it's a release time for kids. It's a cultural tour to come see different bands doing different genres of music, and people just come down here and sit. And it was a great gig.
Who put all your stuff together? You're the one who composed all this stuff and put it all together?
Oh, which stuff is this?
The whole shows, when you do shows.
I basically come up with an idea, and sometimes I'll have a definite idea, and sometimes I'll have a skeleton of an idea, and we'll flesh it out in rehearsal, and it'll take on a life of its own. And many times it'll take a life.
That's creation.
Yeah, and many times it'll take a life of its own when you're playing live. You say, we didn't, sometimes a mistake turns into something that's really creative, or just being in the moment. Somebody played something and it went just a little different, and everybody captured that moment and kind of built on that moment in that moment.
I used my phone last night to kind of search over you, and the phone don't really give that good of a music, tone.
No.
But you have. I already said you have an old tone, but you have a very iconic tone. You have your own brand of tones.
Well, if you play long enough, you'll play like yourself.
I've listened to a lot of people over the last 55, 60 years. I started out, when I hitchhiked across this country, I hitchhiked this whole country in 1959.
Wow.
Yeah. And wherever I went, I sought out music. So I I was stationed in Japan, and I did the Japanese jazz series while I was stationed in Japan. And I was in France, you know. I did the jazz series there. And you always kind of go out and you listen to the difference in a person in the way they create. It's like putting your spirit into the music. Am I right?
That's what it is. I always say, when you create music, you basically, when you go in the studio and you pull out your instrument and you start recording, when you be standing in front of that microphone, playing, singing, whatever you do, you're in essence standing in front of that microphone, butt naked, because you're revealing all of yourself.
Wow.
You're revealing, and you're revealing all yourself. You're showing your attributes and you're showing your flaws, and it's all there. It's all hanging out.
Spirituality in music is something that everybody does not have. Just like a lot of people try to play the blues. But you've got this thing that I noticed that right when you're getting ready to amp up and come to the ending of something, you kind of put a little bit of more of a spin on things. Where the hell did that come from?
I don't know if it's blues, but you know what? We all, Miles Davis said it best. We all trying to play blues. No, because blues, jazz and blues, R&B and gospel, people try, and I always say, when people say, what kind of music do you play? I said, you must be from a record company. You must work for a record store. You're trying to compartmentalize me. It's all music. All things, the Bible says, all things come from the Lord. And so, just trying to separate it, it means trying to put a line and divide it up into, this is what this is over here. This piece is jazz. This piece is rock. This piece is blues. This piece is gospel. This piece is R&B. But nobody ever seems to realize that there's infinite lines that connect all of them. And if you listen to Ray Charles did country. He did pop. He did some gospel.
He did everything.
He did everything. And if you listen to Bach, Stravinsky, Schubert, at some time in their life, they got their heart broken and they went into their music.
Yeah.
And so, if you listen to Bach, you say, "Damn, Bach was in a blue moment in this when he was writing this particular piece." If you listen to some of this stuff, because there are bluesy attributes to it, even in classical music, you say, "Wow, there was a dissonant chord in the midst of this composition."
Musicians are like instruments. One of the most wonderful things that I learned back in 1965, a guy had a Stradivarius.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know what the hell it was.
Violin.
You know, violin. Then I heard the Stradivarius, and then I heard a production violin. And it's like two different enclaves of music coming.
Yeah, they resonate differently. Wood is different.
And the fact of the matter is that once you become old, and I'm going to put this one on you, older, you get that Stradivarius tone into your spirit and your soul. You get that thing that connects to people. And how old are you now?
I'm 47.
Oh man, you old as hell.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. Me too. But I like when people get between like 40 and 70. That is when like music becomes the actual spirituality of who you are. You know.
That's because your life comes out of you at that time. You've experienced some things. You say 40 and 70. You're 40. You're almost half a century old. So
right.
you have to experience many things.
Right.
Like 47. I'm 47. You start knowing about things right about 12 or 13. So if you say, so when I was 12 or 13, we were going from being Carter in office to Reagan.
Right.
We had Reagan for 2 terms. Then we had Daddy Bush. And you think about all the things that happened. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. The Great Wall came down. All those things that happened. All the life things that have happened. The Rodney King.
Music is life. Music is life. Music is not just life itself, but it's a part of a lot of people's lives. Am I right? So when you go out there to do your thing, do you feel that you're just going out and that you're just floating out there and you're making yourself known and you're actually putting yourself out there? How does that feeling feel when people reciprocate to that?
When you go out there,
You know when you're hitting the dungeon.
Well, first of all, to go to the first part, what you said, you don't end up in some place just the sake of hitting up there. It's all orchestrated by God before we got here. Now,
man.
when you get there, it's up to you to seize the moment and utilize that moment and make it the best, because something happened for you. God made it happen to you to be there at that moment. Now, when you get there, you have to connect with the people. You have to connect with the people, and connecting with the people on 20th Street, 20th and Mission, is maybe not connecting with the people on California Street at Grace Cathedral, or connecting with the people in the avenues, or in Haight-Ashbury. Same when we played the old Fillmore Theater. Now, we know the Fillmore Theater went through a renaissance in the late 60s, where it was a black theater basically, and then in the mid-60s, Bill Graham took it over, had the Rolling Stones and Cream, and then you remember B.B. King said he came one time he came, and it was an all black venue. He pulled up again, it was a hippie venue, and he told the bus driver, "Hey, we here on the wrong date. Take us." And Mr. Graham came out and said, "No, you're at the right place." And they received him just as well as they received him when it was an all black establishment a few months earlier.
It's all about feeling.
It's all about
Da, 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 da. That was bad.
Thank you.
That was bad.
I'll put the pop-up player in the comments on here.
That was bad. That was bad. Oh my God, that was bad. Man, you got some spit, as they say down in the South.
Oh, okay.
You got some spit. Damn, baby. Shit, that's a damn good surprise today. That got my old bones a going.
That's what it's supposed to do. Is that what it's supposed to do?
Tell me something. Where do you aspire to go in the music world?
Higher.
That's what
I want to. I love being a solo artist. I love being a saxophone player. But you're given this talent by God, and you can't be a hoarder. And so you have to write, you have to play, you have to inspire, you have to teach, and so you got to facilitate other people's dreams. Is how I like to put it. You have to facilitate other people's dreams, and sometimes that means being a session player. Sometimes that just means having an ear or using some knowledge that somebody imparted into you at some point in your career to help somebody along in their career.
Wow. That is heavy duty. You're real.
You got to be real.
Wow. We talked about that this morning. There's a lot of fake hate people out there. And there's that certain 20% that's real to the deal.
You got to, to our own self, be true. You got to be true to yourself. And once you're true to yourself, you'll find out that maybe this soapbox that you're actually standing on is not that tall of a soapbox.
I have never heard it put that way. I have never heard it put that way.
Because when you it's introspect.
Yeah.
You're looking at yourself from the outside, and then once again, you're standing butt naked.
Wow, that's heavy duty, baby.
It's just like recording. It's like, okay, and then you look at the next person and you say, well, yeah, that guy standing in his soapbox is a little bit higher than mine, and you look and say, well, how did you get that one? And then you try to aspire and say, I'm gonna take some of that that you have on yours and impart it on mine, and then you build each other up.
The thing of it is that. Go ahead. What did you start to say?
Our last selection we played was Calling. You want to tell us about that?
No, the last selection you played was called Love That.
Love That.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Love That.
Love That.
I want to talk to you about that. Love That was actually the first tune when I got ready to record this project. And and let me tell you about the project. Just bring you up to speed. What's out now are basically singles because in this day and age, nobody actively buys CDs. The majority, and I know I'm gonna get in trouble. I can feel it. I can feel it. Holy Spirit, baby, tell me. I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna get. Somebody's gonna email me, tweet me, some. Most people don't buy full CDs these days. Everybody buys the song they like. Unlike 35, 40 years ago, I still have my vinyl collection. People used to go out and buy the whole album. So
but isn't that the time of change?
Yeah, but you bought Songs in the Key of Life. You bought What's Going On. You bought the Teddy Pendergrass, and you played every single track,
right.
turned it over, and when it was fading out, you was trying to put your ear to your Victrola or your RCA and get everything. So
wait,
these
whoa.
Wait, let me answer your.
Victrolas?
Come on, man. RCA, Victrola.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Well, you old the hell.
General Electric.
You older than I thought you were.
But let me answer go back over to answer your question. But so the songs are out now are basically singles, and if you check back, you'll see new packaging, same songs, more songs. Eventually, you'll see a best of Stabe Wilson with some new tracks, and that'll be the full 10, 12 track CD. And you know, I've got stuff in the hopper now, and we're getting ready to record. Tina was on the live feed. We just did a song.
Who is Tina?
Tina, she lady from Sacramento.
Uh-huh.
I met her through Tracy Carter, who's producing the track for me that we're trying to get out for the summer. And we're doing that. We recorded a song. It's a cover song. I'm not gonna put too much out about it, but it's a nice cover song. We're gonna put it out. It's a nice little mellow R&B thing. It's another R&B. It's along the lines of Love That, maybe a little bit more swag on it. But let me tell you about Love That, because you asked me about that. Love That, when I first got ready to record this CD, I listened to the friend, the help, a good friend of mine. His name is David Jackson. He happens to be also a preacher's kid. He's a maestro, I like to say.
I know David.
You know David Jackson?
I know David personally.
He's the music director for Jennifer Hudson now.
Right.
And I remember one day I said, man, it must be nice to wake up to somebody different every day, because whatever he puts his hands on, whether it's gospel, he's a gospel-based guy.
Right.
He does it all. And it was a joy working with him. And when I got ready to do this project, I said, hey man, I'm ready to do a project, and I need your help. And I said, man, so I went to his house and we sat down and we played a bunch of stuff. Hey, what's that right there? Can I have that song? And he kind of had a skeleton thing going to it. He had most of the tracks done, and it didn't have a melody line. So I said, let me have that track. Alvon Johnson wrote I Am Blessed. I had that track. And so the first tracks we cut for the project was I Am Blessed and Love That. So Love That, it was a great song. We went into the studio, we tracked it. Joel played drums, Eric Smith played bass, Jubu came and did overdubs on guitar, Willis played Fender Rhodes, Dave went to play organ on this track, and that's him playing the solo on the outro. And we had a great time, and that's how Love That came to be. And I called Sarah Williams, and I said, Sarah, I got this track. I'm in the studio, and she said, you're in the studio? Yeah. And I said, here it is. And she came up with some great lyrics and vocal arrangements. And so the credits on it is that David, Sarah, and myself wrote Love That. And she did the vocal arrangement and she did the lyrics.
I watched him play for about 5 years, off and on Sundays. And I would close my eyes and listen to his music. And be transformed to another galaxy. To another dimension. Yeah. I just love that so much. Love that.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of the show, so I wanted to get some more of his music in. So yes, the next single will be Calling. A little bit of background on that?
Yes, Calling. It was originally recorded by Edwin Hawkins and Zvav Pavit. I know he's going to tell me I said the name wrong. He wrote it and recorded it. I'm not sure if it was the first time we recorded it, but I know that's the first time I heard it. And I was trying to write another single, and I wanted something funky, and it wasn't funky. It was funky, but it wasn't funky, as George Dukes used to say. And he said, "Why don't you try this? Why don't you do this thing?" I said, "You gonna come and produce it for me?" He said, "Sure." Oh, okay. Then I go, oh shit. Edwin Hawkins is gonna come produce. I gotta sell all my houses, all my cars, and I will be playing at 20th and Mission in front of Popeye's Chicken because I don't have enough money to pay this guy to produce it. Well, as a guy worked it out, and he came in, and unlike the other 2 tracks that I went in and played 18 hours of saxophone stuff, we put that product, we finished, we mixed it, we recorded it, did a few vocal overdubs, did some string overdubs and some keyboard bass, and went and mixed it in about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. It was out.
Wow.
And it was great. It was like, oh, okay, this is how it's supposed. This is how it could be done, as opposed to me doing the other 2 tunes and taking almost a year because I'm overdubbing everything and just soloing on the sound. So I was like, shit, oh god, I can't. And what happened is, he said, oh, that's it. Be an artist and go and play. And I was on pins and needles, and I was like, but is that all you want? You know, that's good. You got it. You got it. And so this is an Edwin Hawkins entitled piece called Calling. And it was great. And he actually, if you listen closely, he did some vocals on there. And I feel really honored to do that because I grew up as a preacher's kid. That was one of the first albums I ever held in my hand was Love Alive.
Oh, cool.
And I remember we went to, my dad brought both Love Alive and Love Alive 2 home. And I sat there on my little Fisher Price phonograph listening to that stuff for hours. Be grateful and never alone and going up yonder and change and come by here. I'm going away. All that stuff. That was probably one of my, other than the little sing-along records that you had when you were a kid. That was like the first album that I actually owned. And you sit there and look at the album cover and try to immerse yourself into, as you know, as a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid, you try to immerse yourself into the album cover and try to make yourself be there. And then when you finally meet him, it's like a whole different thing.
Listening to Thoughts of a Common Man with Charles the Chief Williams on Radio Valencia, the sounds of the mission.
Boy, you blasted the hell out of today. Made my day.
Oh, thank you so
Damn.
much. You blessed my day, and thank you for being super patient with me. As I felt like I was following Moses to the promised land. I had to cross the Red Sea to get here.
Hey man, it's all about respect. That's what the whole thing, Thoughts of a Common Man, is about. Respect, getting people together, talking a whole lot of stuff, and getting ourselves out there. You know what? We gotta love each other more.
Yes, we do.
That's my whole
Love is the
thing.
only way, man. Love is going to get us through whatever we're going through. Love is going to get us there.
Yeah.
Because love is pure.
Love is pure.
And
Agape love.
And it's Holy Week, and not to get super spiritual and deep, but God loved us first. And if you know God, you know love. Because God is love. Marvin said it. It's in the Bible.
It's everywhere, baby. It's in your heart, it's in your spirit, it's in your soul. Love is everywhere. And I want to tell everybody that. Love somebody today. Make yourself feel good.
Right.
You know, I always say that. We talk about love all the time. People say, Chief, why are you always talking about love? Because love is pure.
Love is pure. Love is going to get us. Love is going to get us to the next plateau.
Damn, man. Where the hell you been?
Been here all the time.
Wow. Too much. Intelligent. You're highly intelligent.
I'm still paying for my education here at San Francisco State.
That's all right. You know, you are an example of what I talk about every day. Every day. Every day I go on this air. Every Tuesday I talk about love. I talk about care. I talk about respect. I talk about dignity. And here you are.
Thank you. I'm honored. I'm humbled.
Telling
I'm
you.
humbled.
Yeah. Give us some numbers of how we can get a hold to you. People can get a hold to you.
I'm on social media, and if you inbox me, I'll respond. I'm Stabe, STABE WILSON. You can Google that, and it'll bring up. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think bands in town. There's a plethora of different ways to get in contact with me. www.stabe, STABEWILSON.com, and you can catch me there. I answer all my emails personally. It's not answered by a computer. It's not answered by somebody who works for me. I answer all my emails. Sometimes it takes me a minute to get back to you, but I will get back to you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us for our second hour. We're definitely going to have you back
Definitely.
for the whole 2 hours.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So you can get the thoughts of a common man. You find out how small my bubble really is.
Yeah, package that EP up and come
Oh
back.
yeah. By the time we come back, we'll have some more stuff.
Great, awesome.
Aaron Bailey, have a good day. Aaron Bailey, my buddy out there, have a good day.
And we're going to go out with Sunrise. You want to talk about that?
Sunrise. Jacqueline is a lady that used to live here in the Bay Area, and actually we're in the shadows of where we recorded it, and recorded up the hill a little ways from here. Ricardo Love called me one day and said, "Hey, why don't you come over to the house and play some soprano, play some sax?" And I brought my Arsenal saxophones, and we came in and played on there. And a couple of months later, it was out. And Sunrise, I called it Sunshine earlier. I'm sorry, that was that might have been on the live Facebook thing we did, but it was called Sunrise, and we recorded here in San Francisco. And like I said, my project is all San Francisco, it's all Bay Area based. Michael Escovedo was on there. I didn't mention him earlier, but he's on there playing percussions in the legendary Escovedo family. And so Sunrise, the track we did here in right up the hill. It's a San Francisco recorded project. She lives in LA now. And Sunrise.
All right, so let's get into that, and we have to say goodbye.
Amen. Stabe Wilson. Damn, boy, you're good.
Thank you.
Amen. Love you.
Love you too.
Amen.